Welcome everybody to All Things Football. Manchester United, wonderful result against Tottenham Hotspur in a 3-1 victory. I'm not going to talk about the rest quickly. I just want to get something out of Ibs. This is one for the culture. This is one for all of you guys. We're going to get a lovely little apology to Fred, Pastor Fred from Ibs. Take the floor.
Pastor Fred. Let me get the Portuguese, the Brazilian persona. Frederico Rodrigues de Paula Santos. Desculpe. I'm sorry. Lo siento. Whatever language you speak. I'm sorry. I doubted your ability. I'm sure there's extra training sessions after the end of training. 100 passes against the wall. I don't know what you did, but you've got the goal. It paid off. We won the game 3-1. And he started the move as well. Let's just go straight into it. I mean, we're skipping a few goals forward, but let's rewind to the disallowed goal. Human Son goes down, poked in the eye.
It wasn't in the eye.
The ref decides that as Ollie said, you can't run anymore.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't get it. I don't get how that's an obvious error as well.
I think, first of all, what we need to establish is it's not VAR itself. The actual technology is good, and it's allowing referees and pundits and us fans to look at things in more detail, which we weren't previously able to do during the match. It's the actual referees themselves making the decisions in the match, which is causing the controversy. There's no way that's a foul in any football. Football is a contact sport. Football isn't ballet. You're going to get roughed up. You're going to get hit. You're going to get kicked, all of that stuff. When someone literally puts a hand to your mouth or lip trying to hold you off, because if we all watch the replay back, this is Son's hand, this is McTominay's hand. They literally come together and it slips off and basically slaps them on the mouth. That's what the incident was. If that's a foul, football's finished. Football's gone. We've said this so many times this season. It seems to be every single week there's at least 4 or 5 suspect incidences, and I think the one in the United Tottenham game was one of the worst I've seen. The fact that a goal was disallowed for it, I think, is abysmal. But I mean, we can only take positives from that. Considering the result, we won 3-1. The second half performance was probably the best I've seen us play.
Yeah, I think it's a reaction, obviously, because then the goal disallowed, and then Son went and scored a goal. So obviously, the disbelief, the anger must have been like in the players' minds when they got to halftime. Obviously, they didn't feel like they should be behind. So I guess the halftime team talk was self-explanatory. They didn't really need to say much to each other apart from just push on. And as he said, one of the best halves of football we've seen Man United play.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be people saying, why can't we play like that every match? I think there's a simple enough explanation. There's not enough squad rotation. There's about 14 players which get used every match or week in, week out. Not enough, I think, to play that half of football for 90 minutes 3 times a week. I think I saw a stat or something the other day. We are the only team, I think, in Europe or the Premier League to play every midweek since the beginning of the season. And I think we're on 50 games now, which is also the most in Europe. So we're a busy team. We're averaging around 2 to 3 games a week. We don't have the quality and depth, or Solskjaer doesn't trust his squad depth enough to rotate the squad to be able to play that style of football every match, like Manchester City or like Liverpool when they were dominating. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's something, until we bring the right players in, we're just going to have to get to grips with, because although it's nice to see, we're just going to have to settle for the gritty, boring 1-0s or 2-0s or scrape a win here and there. It's hard to take, but if we want to see the progress, we're going to have to sit through the hard times first.
Yeah, but let's just go to the first goal. Fred actually started the move. He played it into Bruno, got it back, played it into Rashford, yeah. Another 1-2. Lovely ball to Cavani. Probably should have scored, but then Fred didn't stop. Like, it's very easy to, once you've made the pass and you played it to Cavani, you think he's going to score, you just stop making the run. But any top professional knows you keep running, and he kept running into the box and he was there for the rebound and deservedly scored his first goal, was it since 2018? 19.
2019. I think it was the first goal against since when he scored against Wolves, when Pogba had that delicious assist. But whatever.
But yeah. And yeah, absolute scenes. You should have seen me. But
I
yeah,
tried to
Fred,
get the tweet first, but you already made it.
I already made the tweet. But yeah, and then from then on, I mean, Spurs didn't have anything in that game.
Yeah.
Classic Jose Mourinho. They got the one goal, and they didn't attack. Maybe just decided to sit back. But even them sitting back, they just couldn't. We just were playing so well. Then obviously Greenwood came on, changed the game even more, and then got the assist for Cavani, who is a top class, world class striker, and it shows with that slight movement and a great header.
Yeah, Greenwood posting an amazing stat, the first teenager for Manchester United to get a goal and an assist in a substitute appearance since Ronaldo against Portsmouth in 2003. Keeping great company there. I just want to say, though, although Fred got the first goal high on confidence, he didn't have the best game. Him and McTominay in the middle of the park were not good. They were wasteful on the ball. And I just need to say that. I don't want to get it twisted. Fred is still a very average player.
I mean, yeah, we have to keep saying Fred isn't good enough. Even though he had his goal.
Yeah, the rest
I'm
of
not
the game.
This is Anton this time, by the way. This is not me.
I just need to. We need to be realistic, and we need to understand. Yes, we won, but not everybody had the best game. And Fred and McTominay middle were not very good. They're not good defensively. McTominay got booked, obviously not for the Son challenge, but for a genuine. He took Ndombele out, and Fred didn't have the best game. He wasn't the best on the ball, but that build-up play was 1 and 2 touch. I don't know why. I know I just said we don't have the rotation, but when we're playing 1 and 2 touch intricate football like that, we can do it. I don't know why we don't do that more. I mean, Greenwood as well. When he came on, he was a bright spark. It's so nice to see someone so technically gifted naturally on the ball. Although he's a striker by trade, he's so capable on the right. And obviously we need to bring someone else in. But for now, we have Greenwood, and he's making a difference. There was a clip on the post-match analysis of the match, I think it was on Sky Sports, where Greenwood didn't play Cavani the ball fast enough, and you saw Cavani basically shouting him, instructing him on what to do, and literally a couple of minutes later, Greenwood didn't even take a touch, whipped it in, and Cavani was able to score a diving header. And it's showing that although Cavani's only been here for a few months, and he might leave in the summer, go to Boca Juniors, but he's having an impact.
Yeah,
he's having an impact, and I'd like to see him for another year. Doesn't mean he has to be the starting striker, but you can see just from that, people are learning off him. Rashford will be learning off him. He's already going to be scoring more goals than he did last season. Greenwood's learning off him. His all-round game has improved. Although he hasn't scored as many goals, he does look like a better player this season. And even Martial, if he gets the game time again. But Cavani is a valuable asset to this club.
Definitely. And then, obviously, the final goal, Paul Pogba, man of the match, potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why he's the best player in our club. I think those who don't know now, they can see why he's the best player in our club. I don't know. He was so easy for him yesterday. The way he was getting past players, passing it, and he wasn't even in midfield. He was maybe left of the three.
He was on the left mid, so he's not going to see as much.
He was still impacting the game, and he got the assist for Greenwood's goal, which was obviously a great finish from Greenwood.
I mean, we just have to. Obviously, you got Pogba on our side and Ndombele on their side. Sort of similar players in the way they dribble, the way they move, their mannerisms, and their overall personality. I'd say Pogba schooled him. Pogba absolutely schooled him. We've all seen Ndombele when he's on form. He has those little step overs, the body feints, the tricks, and yeah, he's a very skillful player. But Pogba made him look like an amateur.
He had to get subbed off.
Honestly, and although Pogba was on the left midfield on paper, he did operate mainly on the left midfield, I would say. But when he is able to come inside and dictate the play of the game, rake those balls across and beat a couple of men, it's so nice to see. And one thing I will say, just the negative, I'm so scared that he's going to run down his contract and we won't get anything for him. Because it's so easy for him to do that.
The thing is, he could run it down, but say we make good signings this summer, I wouldn't mind him running it down. Or if we make good if we make good signings this summer and actually challenge for a title next season, say we challenge and get close to winning or potentially winning, do you think he could potentially sign another contract?
It's a possibility. Anything's a possibility. We could do exactly what you just said, and he could sign a new 3-year deal, or we could do exactly what you said, and he still might think, I still want to move, because we don't know him personally. We only know what he lets out through his agent. We don't know if Manchester United is his dream club, or Juventus is his dream club, or Real Madrid, or it could be any team. He might still want to move to Madrid. So whether or not we sign Haaland and Grealish or blah blah blah, whoever else, he might still want to move, and that's something that we shouldn't stop. We've done it enough times, and I think it's come back to bite us a few times. But I think now, might be his last chance to move, and he'll probably know that.
It depends what clubs are out there, because obviously every club at the moment is almost rebuilding, and
Yeah,
Man United, I feel like we're rebuilding, but we're close to almost maybe potentially completing the rebuild. But if he leaves, he's going to a team which will be rebuilding. So it depends where he sees as the best fit for himself, and obviously he wants to win trophies. So wherever he feels like he can win trophies, and if that's Man U or somewhere else. But I still have that little bit of faith that he potentially could stay. But we have to wait. We have to wait until next season.
I think this summer is going to be one of the biggest transfer windows in recent history. You're looking at Mbappe, Haaland, Grealish, Sancho. All of those big name players are being rumored to just be on the move, and I don't think it's just murmurs anymore. I think this is concrete interest from clubs who can actually pay up and seal the deal. Pogba, in terms of Manchester United's point of view, I don't think he'll be signing a new contract. I can't see it happening. We've already activated the 1-year thing, which will be that next season. I think from a business point of view, if we know that he's not going to sign that contract, we're going to have to sell him, because the Glazers won't want a £70 million player to leave for nothing. They won't let that happen, because that's, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, that's money in their pocket that they won't be receiving. But I just want to say quickly, Premier League table is lighting up. We're looking at the same, almost an identical, not in terms of points, but the positions with Man United and City, to the season where Aguero scored that winner. Yep. If we win our game in hand, with 6 games left, and that's the same as when Aguero scored.
It's not over. The season not over.
No. You can't say that. You can't. You conceded the title about a month and a half ago. I'm in it till the last kick. Until we mathematically can't win it, I'm there, and we can. I believe the pressure will get to Manchester City. I don't think Ollie's going to be praying. He's going to be doing his juju that everyone's been talking about for the last year and a half. He will not let City win that treble. If we beat Burnley, we're 8 points behind Manchester City with 6 games left to play. Manchester City have a few hard games. I say Everton is a hard game.
They don't really have many hard games, to be honest.
No, Everton is a tricky game. Carlo Ancelotti teams are tricky to play against. Crystal Palace, I don't care. They can beat anybody on their day. They beat us. They've beaten City before very recently. They're a giant killing team. That's 2. We need City to lose 3 games out of 6.
Okay,
the pressure might get to them.
3 games. Okay, they've got Villa, Palace, Chelsea potential loss.
Yes.
Everton last game of the season potential loss.
Yep.
And then Brighton, Newcastle, and
the Newcastle Brighton games, I'll comfortably say City will win. Aston Villa might be tricky. When is Jack Grealish back? Sorry, if you have any information.
I mean, they're playing Villa next Wednesday, so I don't know when Grealish is back.
Never mind. Villa's always a tricky game. They've done it to big teams already this season, so Villa's a tricky game. Everton, they could easily drop points, and Crystal Palace, they're giant killers. Crystal Palace are giant killers. I'm really
You've given me hope, and I don't want this hope to go away. when I see them winning 5-0 against all these teams.
But the Leeds game, what a game, by the way.
True, that is true.
City, that was the most undeserved win I've ever seen ever. I'm not saying City didn't deserve to win. They fully deserved to win about 9 or 10-0. But Stuart Dallas with the brace. I believe I have a little fun story. One of my friends, Chloe, she's a Manchester City fan, and obviously she's got all the bragging rights at the moment. I was Snapchatting her saying Leeds are gonna soak up all the pressure and just hit on the counter and gonna win. Predicted a 2-1 score and I predicted a 90th minute winner. She blocked me on Snap. She blocked me. But I predicted it. You could just see it coming the way Leeds were pressing. Although they went down to 10 men, I guess it works in their favor. It just made them work that extra bit harder, and they were able to just that pass from Alioski in the finish was amazing.
The fact that you brought this up about the 8 points, I think I don't want to jinx it, but when I saw City playing in the Champions League last week against Dortmund, they were applying so much pressure to Dortmund, but Dortmund still were able to withstand it and obviously score a goal. And obviously they just lost to Leeds on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then all it takes is 3 losses. And if it's 3 losses, then we win all our games.
I need to look at our fixtures. So Manchester United's next game is against Burnley. And then after that, we have Leeds.
We have tougher games.
We have Burnley, Leeds, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Leicester and Wolves. Yeah, Fulham and Wolves. You know what? Yeah. We need to win all of our games, and Manchester City need to lose 3. I'm putting it out in the universe.
Lose 3, we win the league.
Yeah, if they lose 3 and we win all of our games, only game I can actually see us probably losing is against Liverpool because it's that derby, it's that match. Leicester, although they beat us in the FA Cup, they don't usually do too well against us in the league. We have quite a good league record against Leicester, so I'm not too worried about that. Aston Villa as well, Fulham as well, and I think Wolves on the final day. That is the banana peel for me, because they are one of the most irritating teams to play against. For us, at least, we always either leave it to the last minute or struggle very much against them. So it's going to be tough, but I genuinely do believe we can win it.
Ooh, this is.
City just ifs, man.
If this happens, I'm telling you, I'm actually every single kit this season, home, away, third. I'm getting Fred on the back. If that happens.
I'm going out full force, Liverpool Town Centre with my Manchester United full kit. If Manchester United win the league, full kit in Liverpool Town Centre. I'm going to have to go live on Instagram on the All Things Football or something. It's happening. It's happening.
No,
Manchester. You see that when you spoke about the match against Dortmund in the Champions League. Yeah, they did well in the match. They won, but something about
it wasn't convincing.
It wasn't, and obviously the Leeds match they dominated, but they lost.
I think they're putting too much pressure on themselves to win all 4 trophies. That they could just crumble. Maybe they actually go far in the Champions League, but then their Premier League gets what's the word? They just don't do as well in the Prem. They're chasing the Champions League.
It's so tricky though, because for a normal team like Manchester United or Liverpool or Real Madrid, I can see that one of the managers, we have to focus on the Champions League or we have to focus on the Prem because we don't have the size of the squad. But Manchester City are different. They have the squad. They can literally field one team in the Champions League, win, and field a whole different team in the Premier League and win. That's the glory of having 20, 22 players that are able to perform, for the first team. But recently, they've not just do it. But recently, they've just lost that convincing edge they had. And I'm all for it. I'm here for it. And I'm here to see it. And I want to see it unfold. But we just have to remember it's Manchester City. They're the best team in England. One of the best teams in Europe.
Yeah, they are. But just as you were speaking, like, I wasn't even listening. All I could hear in my head was Bruno. That's all I could hear in my head. I need to start with these dreams because
fans will be back as well.
What?
I think fans will be back. I might be wrong. I'm not 100% sure.
Potentially, but if I hear the commentator saying Bruno just like he said Aguero on the last day of the season,
it'll be like Rashford. Oh man, we're
getting too hyper right now, but we need to move on to the other games from the weekend, and can start with what was it? Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 1.
That was a good performance.
Bounce back. I mean, Palace, they don't usually at home, they don't. I don't know. They don't usually do as well against the top sides. And yeah, Chelsea scored 3 quick goals in the first half, and then I think they got a fourth in the second half, and obviously Crystal Palace scored. But yeah, the top 4 battle is still on for Chelsea. They're 1 point behind West Ham, and yeah, that whole up to 4th to 6th. I don't think Tottenham are still in it, but 4th to 6th.
Everton have a game in hand and they're 1 place behind Tottenham. If they win that, I believe they're level with. Let me look at the table. I can't look.
They'll be on 51.
Who is that level with?
They'll be ahead of Tottenham, 1 point behind Liverpool.
Yeah, so Everton are still in it. I think the race for the top 4 is going to be it's going to go down to the final day again. And I genuinely do believe that we're going to see West Ham make the Champions
West Ham
League.
and Chelsea.
Yeah, if I'm just going to look at
I think Leicester will drop out.
Yeah, Leicester. Did I tweet it? I believe I tweeted it. Leicester's fall off is in full swing. It's happening again, and that's the only reason why I don't rate Brendan Rodgers that highly, because he can take you all the way to the finish line, but you're not going to get across the finish line. Happened last season. It happened when I think it's happened 2 seasons in a row, hasn't it? In terms of Leicester challenging and not being able to get past that last hurdle, and it's happening again. Obviously, West Ham are challenging. They're a good team this season, and they won 3-2. But I can't see Leicester getting in the top 4. But
talking about that 3-2 win, the GOAT, Messi, Lingard, 2 goals, and again, his West Ham is level because he's been taken out of Man U, put into West Ham, and he's their star player.
You see, West Ham isn't his level unless West Ham are a top 6 side. Jesse Lingard is a top 5, top 4 player. That I genuinely believe he is a Champions League level player. He's just playing. Obviously, he's playing out of his skin. He's high on confidence, and he's going to be putting in amazing performances. But he's playing in a team that doesn't have another player like him, that hasn't had a player like him. So that's why he's shining so bright, and it's great for him. But I think in the last 24 hours, I'm going to say literally from 8 o'clock this morning, Real Madrid, PSG, and Inter Milan, they've all been linked to them. And Jesse Lingard will want to play Champions League football. He has played Champions League football. He's won the Europa League. He's played in the World Cup semi-final. He's been there. He's had a good career. Like, people, all the disrespect he gets, calling him trash or whatever, it's not deserved. He's had a very good career, and I believe if he doesn't stay at West Ham, which I can see happening, he can easily go and play for a Champions League side.
Yeah, it's very true. And as for Leicester, as we said, they went 3-0 down, and they had Vardy on the pitch, Iheanacho, but then obviously Maddison, who else was it? Maddison, Perez, and Chowdhury. They weren't in the squad due to disciplinary actions, and I think that's the end of Maddison's chance of getting into the Euro squad, because
there was a massive party apparently.
Yeah. Well, he's not. I don't think he's getting into the Euro squad, especially with players like Jesse Lingard performing. Jesse Lingard might not even make it to the Euros, but he's now even further down Gareth Southgate's list.
I believe the thing is, it's so tricky now because Oba, by the way, said the price is going up. Yeah, the price is going up. You're looking at 35 to 40 million, I think, for Jesse Lingard at the moment. But in terms of the pecking order for that spot, that Jesse Lingard's position in the England team for the Euros, you got Phil Foden. I'm talking about the fit players now. You got Phil Foden and Mason Mount. I'd say Phil Foden is ahead because he's just a unique type of English player, and then it would be Mason Mount because he's a favorite of the managers he plays for. But I think that Jesse Lingard would do a better job because he's done it before. He did it at the World Cup. He's been around the England squad for longer, and he's more mature in his performances now, I think. If you're looking at the players that need to come back from injury, you've got Jack Grealish, who's the best out of all of them, in my opinion, and James Maddison, who's still injured. But yeah, I don't think he'll be making it to the Euros.
I don't think Lingard is competing with the likes of Foden or Mount. I think Lingard would be in the left wing position, like Grealish would. Grealish is not competing to be in a centre mid position.
I think
he would be played on the left wing as well.
I think with the England squad, the front three picks itself. You got Rashford, Sterling, and Kane. That's the front three. I don't think that is going to change unless Sancho drops 25 goals in the last 2 games of the season. I can't see that changing. The only positions that those players will fill, the Foden, Mount, and Lingard, is the left centre mid or the right centre mid position, depending on who how Southgate lines up that midfield. Because you're going to have one holding at least, obviously. It's going to be probably Calvin Phillips or Declan Rice. But whether Gareth Southgate decides to play 2 pivots or 1 pivot with maybe Mason Mount on one side and then Foden or Lingard on the other side is another story. We don't know. I'd want to see Grealish play. If Grealish is fully fit and actually on form, and like performing at the level he has been, which has earned him his place in the England side, I'd start him over all of them. I wouldn't start Foden over Grealish because although Foden has an amazing season, Grealish is better. He's a better footballer than Phil Foden. He is more mature. He's stronger. He's got more about him. He's better on the ball, in my opinion. And I'd like to see him play in that left centre midfield position, the more advanced centre midfield position, so he's able to influence the attack and play and not have to do that much defensive work, but still will have to get back. That's the position I believe all of them are fighting for.
To be honest, I've mainly seen Grealish play left wing for Villa.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know he can play, as you said, left centre mid, but I've seen him play mainly left wing this season. I think that'll be the best position for him in England squad, because that way you can still play Foden and Mount on the same pitch in midfield, and also Declan Rice. Obviously, there's a lot of people who'd fight you on that one.
I'll debate with anybody about that. I think, obviously, I'm not discrediting Phil Foden or Manchester City. He is a great potential player, and he's a good player now. He's not a great player yet. Jack Grealish is a better player. I think in England, with English players, we overhype everyone. And we have to be so careful not to overhype Phil Foden, because Jack Wilshere was the same thing, and he just faded into the darkness. Before the injuries, he was starting to fade off anyway. Jack Grealish has worked his way up. He's today you have the choice of Foden or Grealish. Not Grealish. Take Grealish. I wouldn't take Phil Foden.
Yeah,
not just because
Grealish
he's well. City, but I take Grealish. He's a more effective player. If you put Phil Foden in that Villa side, I don't see him performing as well as Grealish. Phil Foden plays with De Bruyne. He plays with Aguero, Sterling, Mara. He plays with the best players in the league. That, again, I'm not discrediting Phil Foden, but he has the best team around him. Jack Grealish doesn't, and he's outperforming everyone. That's the difference. That's why I believe Jack Grealish is a better player.
But yeah, kind of staying on the same topic with England and also the top 4, Liverpool beat, they beat Aston Villa, obviously 2-1 on the weekend. Yeah. And Trent is trying to secure his place for obviously the Euro squads, and scored the winner for Liverpool.
Great finish.
And yeah, it was a great finish. But yeah, Trent, right back.
But he's best right back in the world. Trent is the best right back in the world. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
But yeah, Trent, it shows his attacking ability is the best in the world. Obviously, his defending is not the best, but attacking wise, you can't get better than him.
Yeah, honestly, if Trent doesn't get selected for the Euros, I'm going out in Liverpool to riot with all of the fans, because I don't understand what Southgate thinks when he doesn't pick Trent. He's been the best right back in the world. This isn't new. He's been the best right back in the world since probably about 4 weeks after his debut against United. I agree. I'm going to say what Jamie Carragher said. There's probably only one other person you'd want on the ball in the positions that Trent does, and that's Kevin De Bruyne. He's almost as good as
his passing is almost as good as De Bruyne's.
I was going to say David Beckham, but David Beckham was different. In terms of I only say David Beckham because they operate on the same side. But De Bruyne is the only other person that you'd want in the positions outside the area, 20 yards deeper, to whip those balls into, to be the creative player that you want. There is no better right back in the world than Trent Alexander-Arnold. I can't see who comes anywhere close. And that's not just me trying to bum lick the Liverpool fans or whatever. I can't think of a right back that's anywhere near Trent Alexander-Arnold's level for the past 2 years. And the fact that he doesn't get picked for England, I think, is just an insight into what Gareth Southgate lacks. And maybe that's the ability to manage a player that good that he's not, used to. I can't figure it out.
But the thing is, on the other hand, you can say defensively he's not very good, whereas you have like a Kyle Walker who defensively and attacking is balanced, and maybe he might opt for someone like a Kyle Walker who can attack. He plays for Man City, so he can attack. He can get crosses in. He can also score goals, but defensively he can track back and do the defensive role perfectly. Or even a Reece James, who's also potentially could be like a Kyle Walker in the future, but maybe not there yet. So, but obviously, attacking wise, Trent, he can't beat Trent.
No one can.
But defensively, he's exploited. He can be exploited, and it's about that balance. And I think the balance is too far forward. It's like if this is the line here, attacking is this side, defending is this side. He's like here, whereas Kyle Walker is a bit more balanced. And
Bob was right.
I don't know.
Bob was right. Southgate doesn't rate specialists, so was they comparing Trent and consider? Let's see what the numbers. Yeah, you see, I'm going to talk about the difference between my opinion on the difference between Kyle Walker and Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's a reason why Kyle Walker got dropped from Manchester City and England. He can't defend. He was responsible for Tunisia's penalty at the World Cup. He can't defend. He doesn't have that awareness. He just has that blistering speed. He's always having to make up 5 yards because he's always caught out of position. That's why we see him posting those 100-meter numbers every single match, because he's not good. His defensive awareness is not good. I'm not saying Trent's is better, but Kyle Walker's is not good. I would rather have Trent, because with Kyle Walker, you have someone that plays in a Manchester City team who have 2 brilliant centre-back, and their partnership is good. He's not going to have to do as much one-on-one defending. He's not going to have to sit on the edge of his area as much, and neither is Trent Alexander-Arnold. But when you have Trent, the positives outweigh the negatives so much that I can't see how you look past him. Kyle Walker's defensive ability and Trent's defensive ability is pretty much the same, in my opinion. Trent obviously has to improve, because that is the weak point of his game, but so does Kyle Walker, but he doesn't get spoken about enough because he's playing in a City team that's top of the league, favourites to win the Champions League, probably going to do the quadruple this season. And he's nothing. You don't ever focus on what he does, because Manchester City never lose. They never look like they played bad. Even they lost against Leeds. You're not talking about they played bad. You're talking about how Leeds got lucky. And that's the difference between Trent and Kyle Walker, especially this season. Liverpool haven't performed that well, and Trent somewhat have been singled out because he's Trent. When I don't know who said it. I think it was Jermaine Genius or Rio Ferdinand. In this country with our players, we don't focus on the things that we do well. We focus on a player's weakness. No one anymore talks about Wan-Bissaka's defensive ability because we're so used to it.
Yeah, but this is what I was going to actually go on to.
Attack.
Because what you're saying about Trent, the same thing can be said about Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
His defensiveness is off the scale.
Yeah.
Whereas his attacking ability could be compared to Trent's defensive ability. It's not good enough.
It's not.
But why isn't Wan-Bissaka in the conversation for being a defender for England? I just don't get it.
I'm not gonna lie. He shouldn't be out of selection at all.
He's literally not in selection at all. It doesn't make any sense. Even though he did have an England call up, but didn't play because he was injured. But since then, it's been nothing.
I believe. You see, what Oba said. Southgate doesn't rate specialists. Same thing applies for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's a defensive specialist. He can't play centre back. He can't play right wing back. He can't play centre mid. He's a right back specialist. He is the best defensive right back in Europe, probably the world, in my opinion. And I think you could probably find the stats to back it up. But on the eye test alone, he's the best in his position at primarily his main job, which is to defend, stop wingers from getting past. That's what he's best at. But going forward, if I'm putting it on a scale of 1 to 10, you've got 9 for defending for Wan-Bissaka, and 8.5 for attacking for Trent Alexander-Arnold. If you're looking at Trent's defensive work, I'd probably say a 6, because that 6 is average for me. Wan-Bissaka's attacking work is probably a 6. We're looking at a Manchester United team that has only recently started getting people on the end of crosses with Cavani. We haven't had that person that's able to dominate in the air, get those diving headers, that little bit of movement that gets you to the front post. Wan-Bissaka puts balls in the box. Yeah, some of them are dead, but a lot of his balls are actually good. We just don't have that one person that makes that front post run, or that one person that can drop the shoulder on the defender and lose it. Cavani's movement is the best in the club, and he's been injured a lot this season. He hasn't played as much as he should have played. I genuinely believe if Cavani played every single match, if he was constant in the team, Wan-Bissaka would have about 4 or 5 more assists, and we'd be talking about him in the England squad. Because Ober, again, spitting facts. He's just spitting facts today. He doesn't know how to manage them. I don't think Southgate understands specialist players. Southgate as a player was just a really genuine average player. He's never been the specialist. He's never been the best. He's never been this or that. So when someone like Trent comes along, it's like, we have a system here, and I'm gonna pick players like Eric Dyer because he's a brick wall. He's gonna run through the brick
fact
wall.
that Eric Dyer is even in the squad, just says it all about Southgate.
Yeah, but then you don't pick someone like Trent. Like, it doesn't make sense. Trent, Walker, and Wan-Bissaka should be the 3 right backs that get chosen. One, because Walker can play centre back if you want to go to that back 3 or 5. But then you have the best defender, and then you have the best attacker. In terms of right backs, that's
a good
why
balance.
to go. I think you have the perfect balance there. But no, he's going to pick Trippier, he's going to pick Reece James, and he's going to pick Kyle Walker. He might not even pick Trent. And the fact that he might not do that is just frying my brain, man. It's stressing me out. We're not going to win anything with Southgate as manager.
So yeah, I'm convinced Southgate.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll go back to the Prem, because that whole Euro debate, we'll definitely have an episode closer to the time about the Euros after the season ends. But yeah, back to the Premier League action. Fulham, I think they're relegated. They lost 1-0 to Wolves.
Yeah.
Adama Traore almost broke the net. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Fulham. They come up and go back down. It's ruthless. It's ruthless. And then Norwich. The thing is, I think with Norwich, they're too good for the Championship, but not good enough for the Prem. That's just how it is. So you see people like Todd Cantwell, who's obviously a baller, Timo Pukki, but they're too good for the Championship, but they're not good enough for the Prem.
Yeah.
And yeah, we didn't mention yesterday's results. 3-0 away from home, Arsenal. Sheffield are relegated as well. I was watching the game, they didn't do anything. It was too easy for Arsenal. Literally, like as a second goal, Partey just played it straight through their defense, and he scored. I don't know how Sheffield can go from being, where did they finish last season?
7th. I think they finished 7th, or it might be 9th, actually. Well, wherever they finished, they were 90% of the season looking like they were challenging for Europe.
Yeah. And now this season they've won, what was it, 4 games? They've won 4 games and 2 draws.
Sheffield United finished 9th last season. And this season they have won 4 games. Yeah, 4 games and 4 wins and 2 draws, 25 losses. Sheffield United,
they were non-existent yesterday.
Yeah, in a way I feel bad for them. I've never really had an interest in them, but I know that they were one of the OGs of the Premier League. So I always like to see my dream, I guess, is to have all the original Premier League clubs playing in the Premier League. That's what I like to see. So when Sheffield United came up and they had that amazing season last campaign, I was like, yeah, like they're back. They're here to stay. It's nice to see. But this season, yeah, especially yesterday, they look like they're just not good enough. They look like some of them are amateur players. They can't string passes together. I always think about teams like Manchester City. Yeah, they have great coaching, great facilities, great players. But those great players, they're not doing extraordinary things. They're doing the basics, but they're just doing them so well. Sheffield United can't do the basics. They can't receive the ball on the back foot, already knowing the picture that's around them, and pass it. They receive it and then they just kick it.
Yeah, I think they can do it, but it comes down to confidence. When you're bottom of the league, the way they are, when you're winning 4 games, 2 draws, I mean, just doing the basics is hard because that's playing in the back of your mind that you're bottom of the league, everyone's just going to come and win. You're not going to do anything. So they just forget the basics. Obviously, even one of their centre mids, Norwood, I think his name is, I saw him just, he wasn't even a cross or a shot. He just kicked it off the pitch for a goal kick. I didn't know what he was doing. He just kicked it off.
Yeah, it's a shame to see, but at the same time, football's a ruthless business. You can't feel sorry for yourself, and I feel like that might be a part of their nature this season.
It could be the fans. Not having fans in the stadium definitely could affect players, especially teams like Sheffield, as you said, they need an extra 10%, and that's very true.
Look at Liverpool. They've got no fans this season. They're one of the main clubs in Europe that bounce off the fans. Same with Dortmund. They're not doing too well in the league. I mean,
Man City.
Fans,
wait. They don't.
That's why they're doing so well.
They don't have fans. Yeah, that's why they're thriving at the moment. But it's just it's sad to see. But it's the Prem. That's what it is. It's ruthless. But going on to your Arsenal, Oba said it's free confidence for Arsenal because they need it going into this week's Thursday night. They've got Slavia and they need to win. And Lacazette scoring 2 goals. I think he was captain as well yesterday. But even Martinelli got on the score sheet. He's been out for a while. So all of this stuff, I don't want to hear no Martinelli Greenwood debate because that ended last season. But
I don't think it should have ever been a debate. But can I just ask Oba a question? Do you rate Martinelli? Because I saw a tweet and it went viral, like quite viral. Martinelli wouldn't have a career if Kante didn't slip. Do you agree with that? I believe Martinelli is overrated, honestly. I don't know what he's done. He's just like a Sanchez without the end product, sorry. He runs around, he's a good dribbler, he attacks someone, but so does Callum Hudson-Odoi, and he's not really progressed that much. I don't believe Martinelli's as good as people make him out to be. You think he's a real deal? Why though?
Lots of Arsenal fans think this as well. Lots of them think. To be honest, I haven't seen enough of him to have much of an opinion of him. I'm sure he's obviously a great talent because you don't just start for Arsenal for no reason. So he's obviously.
William does.
Oba says, he thinks he's missed an end product. But I mean, he's a young player at the end of the day, so it can come. Obviously, not right now in his career, but I'm guessing the end product will come. Even for some players like Zaha, took him a very long time to get end product.
That is true. Hold on, that is a very good point.
But Arsenal, they're climbing the table up to 9th. And
I got another question for Oba. There were videos of Mikel Arteta training him doing like central striker drills. Is that something you'd like to see? Martinelli progressing as the main striker. You're looking at Martinelli up front, Saka on the left, Smith Rowe, behind the striker, and maybe Odegaard or another winger on the right.
We don't rush all our youth. Yeah, that's fair enough. Said what? Yeah, he's supposed to be a striker.
Is that I didn't know anything about him before he came. Is that actually his position?
I think that is his position. Obviously, he's just playing on the wing at the moment because obviously Lacazette is a central striker. He got pushed left, just like Aubameyang.
Actually, guys, I'm just looking at the Premier League table, The bottom 3, Sheffield United, obviously down. West Brom seem to be finding a little bit of form. And Fulham, who I think are down because they've played a game extra. Fulham are 6 points off safety. And West Brom are 8 points off safety. Do you think West Brom can? Do you think they can drag Newcastle down into the relegation zone and actually survive? Because they won 3-0 today against. Who did they win 3-0
They
against?
played Southampton,
Yeah, they seem to be finding results.
and
Obviously, they beat
they've got Leicester next. So I think obviously they could beat Leicester. As you said earlier in the show, Leicester are looking to drop out of the top 4
Yeah,
again. And then Newcastle have West Ham. West Ham obviously looking to keep their place in the top 4. So I see Newcastle losing their next game. I see West Brom beating Leicester. And Big Sam, 5-2 last week, 3-0 this week. Yeah, West Brom are staying up.
I mean, I don't. Maybe the 5-2 was a bit lucky, but 2 games and 2 convincing wins in a row. It does look like they're finding their form just at the right time. They've got 7 games left because they've only played 31, so they can get 21 more points. They're 8 points off safety at the moment with the same amount of games played as Newcastle. I can see it happening. Yeah, so Maximan on Twitter. Yeah, I saw his goal. I think he was talking about his tweet. So Maximan does not deserve to play for a team as low as that. He's a Europa League at least level player.
But I mean, at Newcastle, the way he's playing, being used is, I think, in the correct way. He's being used as an impact player.
Yeah.
And he impacted the game yesterday. Got 2 goals when he came. I mean, a goal and an assist when he came on.
He's still young.
But yeah, if Newcastle were to get relegated, obviously he shouldn't be playing in the Championship. That is not his level. But potentially, yeah, as you said, Europa League maybe. I don't know yet.
He's 24, just 24. I'd take that young label off, actually.
I'm not too sure what
Premier League level player. He looks like someone, I think, if he went to like Serie A, he'd tear it up. Skillful players in Serie A usually do quite well, I think, because players like to drop off and jockey and whatever. Yeah, he could. Oh, Tottenham. I think we've already spoken about the United match, but I do actually want to talk about something that Roy Keane said about Mourinho. I just remembered it now. Mourinho, when he goes 1-0 up or when he takes the lead, especially when he goes in a half-time ahead, likes to sit back. I just think that the Tottenham players aren't good enough. Because when he was at Inter Milan, Chelsea 1 and 2, like the first and second time, he had top-class defenders. He's got Eric Dyer and Joe Rodon at the back. They're not good defenders. You've got Reguilon, who's way better going forward than defensively. Still a decent defender. And then you've got Sergio Aurier, who's not good defensively. If he goes ahead with a Chelsea team against us yesterday, we don't win that, by the way. He's able to see that game out, maybe nick another goal. I just think that I don't think he's finished, by the way. He just needs good players. And that's all I have to say about that.
What do you think about the comments? The little rivalry between yours truly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Mourinho.
I like to see that. We haven't seen that a lot. I think the last time I would have seen that would have been Wenger versus Mourinho. I'm sick and tired of this PG 3+ rating. Everyone's nice, because obviously we don't get to hear what they say on the sidelines, and maybe rightly so. You can't put some stuff on the TV, but it's always nice to see an actual rivalry, because football, when I was growing up, when you were growing up, you're not obviously that much younger than me. I'm used to seeing Arsenal, Wenger, and Sir Alex Ferguson just at it all the time. Mourinho versus Wenger, Mourinho versus this and that. Everyone against everyone. Even the mid-table teams, you're looking at Martin O'Neill versus
I remember that guy, Martin O'Neill.
Yeah, it's all of these managers now. They're so media trained, and they have to be so nice, and it's so boring. It's so boring. So the fact that Mourinho said he didn't like Solskjaer's comments, and he's talking about Solskjaer as a family man, taking it away from football. Obviously, I don't want there to be fights and this guy's this and this guy's that. Keep it along football, but it's nice to see, and I'm a fan of it. And I think if it's slowly creeping its way back into the game, I'm here for it. I'm honestly here for it.
But the real question is, would you feed your kid after?
No, I'm not feeding my kid.
Let us know in the comments. Are you feeding your kids?
You got to cook for
If your
yourself.
kid got poked in the eye and had to get 10 of his teammates
Ibs, he didn't get
to
poked in the eye. It was like this. That was it. It was that. He got hit in the mouth. I can't. It angers me. I know we won, but it angers me because it's not. I don't think it's Son's fault at all. I think it's football's fault because if Son stays on his feet, there's no foul. He has to go down and he has to roll around because that way the refs are at Stockley Park are like, oh, something's happened there. We have to go and check that. Let's open the rule book. Contact on face foul. That's what happened, I believe. If Son stays on his feet, that goal doesn't even get checked for VAR, and it's
the fact that they said it's VR's intervened because it's clear and obvious.
But it's not.
It's not.
He barely touched it. He barely touched
And
it.
the thing is, now they've done it now, they're gonna continue to do this, and football is going to become softer and softer and softer. We've already seen with obviously the challenges which happen during games that would have been allowed like 10 years ago. You can't come off your feet anymore. And the game of football is just being changed because before you always used to see 50-50s, challenges, left, right, and centre in the Prem. All these rivalries between like obviously Arsenal, Man U, all these challenges flying through, but now you just don't see it anymore. Obviously, I get we're trying to protect players and things like that, but this is the game. This is football. It's a contact sport, and having this is, I think, yeah, as Oba said, does VR need to go? Do you think it should go?
I don't think VAR should go. I think the rules have always been good. The rules have always been adhered to, and the rules are what make football good. But because of the new technology allowing us to look through the microscope of things, I think the rules need to be updated or modernized, not changed. I'm not talking about the offside rule. You can go hang. I don't want all of that. But because of the fact that we're now able to play things at 0.15 speed, so everything looks intentional. Everything looks like he's got boxed him in the mouth. The rules just need to be modernized because of VAR. VAR itself, the entity is good and it's progression and it's positive progression. It's just old rules, outdated rules, and referees who I just think are quite incompetent. There's a reason we don't send. No, there's a reason we can't send referees to the Euros and the and the World Cup, because the way it works is each country that's playing at the international tournaments, they have ranking systems. I think it's something A, something B. If a country doesn't have a referee that's class A, they don't send any referees. We don't have any class A referees. The last one we had was Mark Clattenburg, and it really does show because why do you think
definitely see?
why do you think there's no incidents like this in Serie A or La Liga or Germany? Because they're competent and they understand what they're doing. They're not stupid. They don't fall for stuff like that. There's no pressure. And it is to do with the media as well, but there's just no pressure and they just do their job properly. And until we either import referees from different countries, there was rumors of us getting a referee from the Australian League, I think about 18 months ago. Until we start doing that, it's just going to get worse. It's all going to carry on. All of these decisions are just going to happen every single week.
What happened in the Southampton game against West Brom?
Diagne, the striker, he was onside. I think he headed the ball in, but Kyle Bartley, the centre back, I think it was Bartley, was behind him, about 2 yards behind him. It wasn't in the goalkeeper's line of sight. I think he just made a movement towards the ball. He didn't touch it at all. It was already going in. Diagne had the header. It was already going in. I believe that's what happened. But I didn't do anything. Like, it got ruled out for offside because Bartley moved, but he wasn't involved in the play. It was just that.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely true. That people running it don't have a clue themselves. I think with referees or obviously people involved in VAR, the best way for best people for the job is ex-pros.
Yeah.
People who have played the game. If the referee in the Spurs game against Man U had actually played football, he would know that you use your arms to run. He would know that you don't stop the game because you've hit someone when you're trying to run. That's just football. It's just It's football, it's common sense, and you can tell that he hasn't played the game. All he's done his whole life is ref a game and
Yeah.
never kicked a ball in his life. Because I don't get it.
And you're right about he's never played the game. I don't know if you guys have listened to the Peter Crouch podcast, but they had Mike Dean on, and he spoke about his progression from just being a normal person to being a Premier League referee. A lot of these referees have never played football. They started refereeing when they're like 14, 15, and they just work their way up. So they don't understand what it's like to go into a 50-50 or what it's like to accidentally touch someone on the shoulder or face. It's annoying. And I hope, by the way, you mean that referees in Stockley Park, not referees on the pitch, should be exposed.
Yeah, like people obviously involved making the decisions.
The video assistant referees, I believe, should be exposed.
But even the refs on the pitch, they just haven't played football before. I don't think, because if you think about it, who really wants to be a ref? It's the guys who are not good enough to play on the pitch.
They get picked last, so it's like
they're the rejects. So they become refs.
Oh, well, we can't pick him, but you're gonna have an extra player. You can be the ref. It's one of those ones.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have no clue.
Yeah, but as I said before, there's a specific and very obvious reason why the Premier League has an incident every week. We don't have any Class A referees. Howard Webb was one, and then it was Mark Clattenburg. I think there was one about 20 years ago, but I can't remember his name. I know his face, can't remember his name. But we've never really had that many, but we've always had very good referees. Probably played Frisbee.
But yeah, I mean, we got the win. It was I think this weekend the football's been good. Good results for many clubs: Arsenal, Man U, Chelsea, Liverpool. Top 4 races heating up, getting very close. Relegation battle as well. Big Sam, can you do it with West Brom? We'll have to wait and see. We win our game in hand. Be 8 points behind City. 6 games left. We know what happened 2012. It was the exact opposite, and City went on to win the league. Don't be surprised if you hear the commentators shouting out, "Bruno!" and scenes, absolute scenes. I'm gonna buy 3 Fred shirts if he win the league. And yeah, for those of you who have just joined the stream late, I'm gonna do my apology once more.
For Fred.
Federico Rodriguez de Paula Santos Disculpe. Lo siento. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I've said. You're one of the best players in Man United. Obviously, the extra training after training helped. The 200 passes against the wall. Left foot, right foot, as I said. I tweeted you out. I tagged you in the post. And you done it. You started the play. You finished the play. What can I say? Pass the thread. Here's to another contract. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. We'll see you again next week, or later this week actually, for the European roundup. Good night.
You need to drop the mic. Thank you very much.